Before I begin, I want to tell you what this is not. This is not a sob story. This is not an attempt to add to anyone's guilt. I don't want affirmation of my pain. I don't want to think any of these lines are catchy. I just want someone to hear me out and listen intently. Because I no longer see myself as a victim, and I will no longer accept help or love in the form of sympathy. That may seem normal or an attempt to seem unique, but that wouldn't surprise me because I've always been different. I was made aware that I was different when I was told that I dance a little too much or I feel my emotions a little too deeply. My overwhelming joy or sadness erased and stomped out with phrases like, "Yo, stop acting like a sissy." This alone should have been the signal that life was going to be a constant struggle between who I am and who I am supposed to be. And I needed to be briefed on the rules of engagement immediately. I didn't know that the journey to self-love would be like a civil war of astral collisions between my soul and my ego, my image and my identity, all cocooned in my internal arena constructed of flesh, pain, illusion, and shame. You would think it was the Hunger Games, but now I stand here before you like a buffalo soldier sporting a medal of honor from a war I did not start. And I did not know whether I received it for my integrity or merely surviving, while for many others on a similar path, life was not as kind. According to statistics or social norms, I, as a gay black man, should be neither alive, educated, healthy, nor free. Yet I willingly stand before you now, all of those things, and most importantly, loved. In spite of the fact that I am a walking canvas for the ignorant to express their prejudice and bigotry that result in compounded oppression so intense that anger and violence seem like a viable life vest when I'm drowning in a sea of supposed to be's. As a black man, all the negative qualities associated with masculinity are put under a microscope, in addition to being criminalized because of my black body. As a black gay man, I am even further marginalized in both of those communities because my sexuality is portrayed as a deviant, weak, or potentially diseased. This leaves little room or opportunity for my truth, because it usually falls on ears that think I can somehow fracture my identity into tiny, little itty-bitty pieces and only address the things they are comfortable discussing. Black people who want to discuss the hypersexual images and ideas about black bodies, but only as they pertain to straight sex. Queer people who disregard issues of race or assume that their experience as a sexual minority somehow means that they're an expert on being a racial minority. Discussions mired in assumptions and microaggressions flying like bullets, threatening to create holes in the perceived identity in which I hold. In order to protect myself, I use everything thrown at me as material to construct my cocoon like a caterpillar. In order to protect me from more pain and ultimately to catalyze my own transformation. Walls made up of smart defensive quips and perpetual apathy that were indestructible from the outside. Layers made of expectations, questions, and statements such as, "Why do you talk so white? Put some bass in your voice. Have you ever stolen anything? Don't tell anyone you're gay, because you are just assisting in the constant emasculation of the black man. Trust me, I understand because gay is the new black. I'm just not into black men, but it's a preference, I promise, I'm not racist. It may go away if you pray about it." For the time that I was encapsulated in the darkness around me, I tried to figure out how so many people could disregard my humanity or lack empathy. When I was younger, my mom always told me that the golden rule is that you treat others the way you want to be treated. But time and experience began to show me that there was more to that story. Some say that the platinum rule is that treat others the way they want to be treated. I personally follow the diamond rule, which is that regardless, people will treat you the way they are willing to treat themselves. So look, listen, and prepare yourself accordingly. That's when it clicked. No matter how hurtful or misguided the things others have said to me maybe in the grand scheme of things, it had nothing to do with me specifically. It's not that I was contagious like an incurable disease. They feared that their immune system would not hold up against the unknown. Or they feared the consequences of accepting what they knew were true, but who was I to assume? For I would just be like those who made incorrect assumptions about me, so why was I accepting their misinformed hypotheses about my reality? That was a crack in my cocoon, and light began to shine in ever so slightly. It widened when I realized approval was nice, but not a necessity. More layers began to melt away slowly but surely when I noticed that people were very good at loving you conditionally. And the only unlimited source of unconditional love was inside of me. So I began to love every aspect of myself without exception. I love that the constricting feeling in my chest and the tears that follow insults and disappointments are reminders that I am human, and that tears are both cleansing and temporary. I love the way I embrace my emotions in a way that made me feel alive and always in alignment with my true self. I love that my willingness to be vulnerable gives me freedom to pursue my dreams and tap into my creative powers. I love expressing my inner music with my body, whether it be in celebration or an escape from the trials of the day. I love how the trials and tribulations experienced in my life have taught me that above all other things, I am resilient. I love that my flesh is deep, varied, and enduring as that of the earth on which I stand, armed, strong, and versatile enough to hold masculinities, femininities, and the journey of my ancestors close. I am able to draw upon the power of my onyx traditions, locks, resistance, and precision, afros, pyramids, and songs of nations, love without bounds, shackles without bonds, freedom, hope, and joy, unrelenting, blackness. I love how I learned to extract the lessons from failures that were inevitable. I love that I have accepted that my lack of perfection is the source of all within me that is beautiful and still growing. I love having the realization that I am a man because of the sex I was born into, but the only thing that defines me as a person is how true I am to myself and how much compassion I show others. I was able to stop looking for a ruler outside of me that I had been told had condemned me to hell. When I decided to look within, it was unbelievable because I had found what I thought was only for the colored girls who had considered suicide when the rainbow was enough. I found God in myself and I loved her fiercely. She told me that loving myself does not make me selfish, it makes me indestructible. And to first love yourself and all else will be given unto you. And that's when I completely emerged from my cocoon, standing on top, triumphantly ready to fly free, knowing that my past does not have to define my future. And even though the journey to self-love is a solo mission and I had to complete it for myself, there is a kaleidoscope of black, queer butterflies waiting for me to come home and join them in the sky, and to all my black, queer brothers and sisters I ignored because I did not know how to love myself, who needed support I did not yet know how to give. I love you, and anything I do is ultimately